Welcome to Built to Win, the podcast created to help you level up your business game by developing a success mindset made for the long run. In this episode, Neora's Dave Fleming talks with Gold National Marketing Director Wendy Hatton, who shares how her experience as an entrepreneur changed completely when she discovered Neora and how it has led to greater business success than she imagined possible.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Built to Win. We are back with another episode of your favorite podcast, talking about entrepreneurship and leadership and growing your business or your professional interest, whatever you want to do. Welcome back to the show. Really excited because we have a very special guest with me today, Wendy Hatton, who is a very experienced entrepreneur, business person, has run businesses, has grown businesses, and currently is very successful in her most recent venture. And I'm excited to introduce her to all of you. So Wendy, thanks for coming on and being on the show.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be on here, Dave. So it's exciting times for sure.
It is exciting times. And I want to start where we usually start. People who don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are.
So I'm in central Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky. I'm from the Appalachian eastern part of Kentucky. And I've been married. My husband, we've been married for 26 years. We have a daughter that just graduated college early at UK. And I have been an entrepreneur, Dave, since my early 20s. I think I struggled to work for other people. So when I met my husband, he said, "You love what you do. Let's go into business." And I have been in business ever since.
That is awesome. That's good. Congratulations to your daughter for graduating. That's a big accomplishment. We like to celebrate accomplishments around here. And yes. She had quite the career at Kentucky, if I'm correct.
Yeah. She was she's been a competitive all-star cheerleader, athlete, and then she graduated early at UK, and now she's on to her master's program. So we are super proud of her.
That's awesome. Well, not totally surprising given her parents. I know both of you, and you are great role models and kind of paved a way for success for her. So I think you could absolutely share in the success of your kids. Don't take any of the we don't take credit for any of their bad decisions. We only take credit for their good decisions, right?
Exactly. And it is nice though when they see parents achieving and doing things, because they do model what we do. So it's very important. So as a parent,
it is. You've got to take, as a parent, I know we got a lot of parents who listen to the podcast, but if you're a parent, you got to take credit for the wins. You've got to take credit that,
absolutely.
When your kids make good decisions, like at some level, you had some responsibility there. So give yourself some credit. Yeah. So tell me, like you mentioned being an entrepreneur, and I know your entrepreneurial, your background, but I would love for you to kind of walk through. You mentioned like very early on, you were an entrepreneur running your own businesses and running very successful businesses. And tell us a little bit about what that was and what that was like.
Okay. So when I was in college, I was working at a Merrill Norman cosmetic franchise. I love making women feel beautiful, more confident. I always love that atmosphere. And when I met my husband is also 20 years older than I am. So when I met him, he was financially stable. And he said, "Wendy, you love what you do. Let's just go into business." So I did the smart thing. I dropped out of college and we went and did a lot of money. And I started putting in these franchises. And I loved it. And one thing that I, did that when I first put in my very first franchise, I was looking at how to make myself be different in the world, because I own these franchises and you were selling yourself. I had to make sure I stood out. So one thing that I did was I was always looking for the next innovation. I was actually the very first, this is going to tell my age, I was the very first person in the state of Kentucky to be certified to do eyelash extensions. And then I was the first to offer permanent cosmetics. I just love the field. Well, that being said, no one is going to treat your business like you're going to treat it. So when I put in my first franchise, the corporate headquarters called me. It was doing so well. You were supposed to wait a year to put in the second one, but they're like, "Hey, can you put in a second one?" I'm like, "Okay, great." I took that as a compliment. But what happened, I was running myself thin. And then I put in a third one. And finally, if you've ever owned a business, like I said, employees, they may not treat it like you would. And so finally, it got to a point was I just couldn't handle it anymore. And my husband's like, "Hey, Wendy, we need to cut our losses." And And I was thinking, oh man. So we sold the franchises and I was looking for a backup plan. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go back to college. What am I going to do when I grow up? That kind of thing. And that's kind of where I landed here. Yeah.
That's awesome. Franchising is like the American dream, right? People are like, oh, set up the American dream, and like franchises, you're financially secure. You kind of work when you want to. But the more I learn about franchise owners, like the less that actually seems to be the reality. Is that what you experienced as well?
True. They truly own you. And it's a lot of debt up front, a lot of cost to put a franchise in. And then the employees, the overhead, the rental space, it's a lot. So from the outside picture, it looks nice. But the inside, as being the owner, it's hard. And it was very difficult. We ended up losing a lot of money, a lot of my husband's retirement, and I felt horrible because I truly love what I did. But owning a franchise, it's a big investment. It's a big investment, a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what keeps a lot of people out of trying to own their own business is the risk of the investment and losing the money that you put into it, or like you get into it and maybe you do make money, but your schedule's not what you thought it was going to be. The lifestyle is not what you thought it was going to be, and then suddenly, like I remember one of my good friends who started a franchise, and her comment was, I basically I bought a job. I've never worked my whole life, and now I bought a job, and I'm there all the time. Um,
That's a
so
very good way to put it. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mhm.
so so after that, you were looking for something else. Like, tell me. So what were you looking for? Like you'd done the entrepreneur thing, franchising, decided
Uh,
not to keep doing that. Did you have a
Business,
checklist or?
yeah, owning a business is all I've ever known. So my family, I'm from a very small town in eastern Kentucky, Sayersville, Kentucky. And if you drive through that town, you will see a name on all of the businesses. Bailey's Furniture, Bailey's Carpet, Bailey's Hardware, Bailey's Used Furniture. My daughter's name is Bailey. She swears she is named after a furniture store. Okay. I knew it was brick and mortar, you know? So to me, going in the franchise world was perfect. It's like, that was in my bloodline to be an entrepreneur. However, like I said, no one you don't think about the debt, the overhead, the cost, and all the things. I remember being on vacation and my franchise is being robbed, and here I'm at the beach and I'm watching my employee. It's bad. The police are at my franchise. It's a lot. It's a lot owning that. And so when I got out of it, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to be when I grow up? I got to figure this out again. And that's when I ran across the Neora opportunity from just honestly, I saw a social media post of a before and after picture. And even after my franchises, I will claim it. I am very high maintenance. I love all the things. The beauty industry is my favorite. And I started going to med spas. I was buying everything. And I saw a before and after picture that I'm like, there's no way a product can do that. So tried everything else. Why not? So I tried the product and I fell in love with it. My girlfriend's like, Wendy, you need to do this. I'm like, absolutely not. I've lost so much money trying to sell things in my life. So my
Yeah.
initial reaction was no, no, I've got to go to college and get a degree and figure it out. But it was a blessing for sure. I found
So
the franchise without the franchise, basically, without all of the overhead. I could be my own boss and help people still.
yeah, I mean, well, I think that's one of the things that people. I think that's one of the concerns people have about direct selling is that, oh, I'm going to lose a whole bunch of money, and I think there certainly are companies out there where that is possible, but I
Mhm.
but I think they're the exception. I don't know if that's been your experience. I know people, well, at Neora you can get started for $20, so it's like that's the risk. It's not this big massive franchise fee that you were used to paying.
It wasn't. And when I decided, Dave, to actually do the business, I bought a business kit because it was the best value because I'm a numbers person. I'm like, okay, I love this stuff. Let me buy it. And then what happened? My brain started going because I saw products that actually did work, that delivered. And I saw patents that could not be knocked off or duplicated. And I saw products that went down the drain that were consumable. Listen, I sold handbags, I sold jewelry, I sold makeup. Women, I think a blush will last 2 years. Women do not buy a handbag every single month. They do not buy jewelry every month. But when a woman gets rid of her cellulite dimples off her butt, as I like to say, they never quit buying that. So I saw residual income. I'm like, man, what if I treated this box like a franchise that my franchises were, we invested over $100,000 per franchise. And plus I had a gift shop too. I owned a boutique. Um, but I thought, what if I treated this box? This is what I told my husband. I said, I invested up front $1,000. I made that investment back with Neora within a couple of weeks, and I was in profit mode. I was never in profit mode in my franchises. Okay. I was upside
Wow.
down all the time. And I was working, it owned me 7 days a week. But I took this box, and when I saw the products actually delivering, I told Jim, my husband, I said, what if I treated it like I just spent $100,000 on it, the cost of a franchise? Let me see what it would do in 1 year. And in 1 year, I was in profit mode in 2 weeks. In 1 year, it was turned it into a six-figure income. And that's things that I never got 10 years on in those franchises.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, do you think that your experience in the franchises kind of prepared you and helped you in this business? Are there transferable skills, I guess, is what I'm asking?
I think so, because if I didn't show up to my franchise and open the doors, I never made any money. I had to work it. So I think I was already consistent. So I had a business mindset, knowing that even though this is something simple to do, I needed to show up for it every day. So I did. I think that helped me in the sense of just showing up consistently. Like, because again, if I didn't open the doors, nothing came in, rent was not going to be paid, employees were not going to be paid. I had to show up. So I decided to show up for this, and I've never witnessed anything like this in my life, what you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done this very, very well. Like you're out
Thank you.
there kind of leading the way right now, and with the med spas and this new product that we've got going on. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening. You mentioned something about like when you decided to do this as a business. When you first saw this, like how long between when you saw the product, the before and after pictures, and then when you decided to do this, like and really run with this like it was a franchise?
Well, initially, like I said, I had no intention on doing it, but I was so amazed by the transformation of my own face. I've used the best of skincare, and it was great skincare. Our products produce transformations. I was seeing my face change, my body change. And I tell everyone this business has changed, me from the inside out as a person and financially as our family. But what made me really decide, and I'm gonna swing back around to this is kind of funny. I had went to see my mom and my sister, and they had not saw me in a couple months. And my sister is 3 years younger. And when I get there, she grabs me and she's like, Wendy, you've had work done on your face. And I said, no, I haven't. I said, I just changed my skincare. And she said, whatever it is, I want it because you were starting to look like mom. I'm like, well. So then I decided, okay, I need to share this. And then that's when I came home and told my husband, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat it like it's a business because I've never done network marketing before, direct sales. This is my very first. And so I didn't know you could even make money with it. And when I tell you I'm high maintenance, when I first thought, I told my husband, if I could just get this product free monthly, that gets rid of the mom guilt because I had a daughter in all-star sports that cost $1 million a year. And as moms, we have guilt, like, okay, I don't need to spend money on myself. What I love about this business, you get to take care of yourself and you get to help your family at the same time. So when I started to treat it like the business and started to share it with people, and when I saw, their results coming in, and then when I saw my first paycheck, I'm like, okay, what if I just keep doing this over and over? So I laughed, and this is going to explain my high maintenance thing. So I told my husband, I said, if I can get this free monthly, I'm winning all day long. And if I just made enough extra money, I have a lot of hair, thick and curly hair. And I said, I would love to go to a salon once a week and get my hair washed. Well, my first paycheck day was $65. And so that was just that 1 week. And I thought, my husband kind of laughed. He's like, Wendy, don't get your hopes up in this business. So I never told him my paycheck again. And I went to the salon that week. So 10 years later, I've never washed my own hair. So 8 months later, I had my husband to check my account to transfer some money. And he used to have, and I have the best husband in the world, Jim, everybody loves him. But if you're out listening to this, I remember my husband, I used to make a joke, had a GPS tracking device on me. That was my debit card. When I swiped it, He got notified on a text message, you know? So the day I purchased this business kit for $1,000, I actually got a phone call. He's like, "What are you doing?" We have skincare and makeup out the, everywhere. Because when I saw those franchises, I brought a lot of it home. And but long story short, he lost his GPS tracking device. Uh, and he started seeing me coming in with these bags. And 8 months later, when he did, I called him. I said, "Hey, can you transfer some money out of my account?" He's got on there and he's like, "Where did this come from?" And I said, "Oh, that little biz." So this is a funny story. We live on a golf course, and I had bought him the golf shirt with the little N on it and the golf cap. And he told me he lost it when I first started. The day he checked my bank account 8 months later, he was fully dressed.
Yeah. Wow.
So let me tell you what, it has been a ride, and I've got to retire him 6 years early. So let me tell you, this has been a blessing. I can't say enough about it.
That is fantastic. No, I love that. So does he, here's the true question. Does Jim refer to it as our business now, or is it still your business?
It's still ours. And when I'm not, he still says ours. But however, I remember this business gave me my identity back. And so if you're a mom on here listening, I remember I was the mom that showed up for every school function, volunteered for everything. And I was known as Bailey Hatton's mom. No one even knew my name. Jim was a corporate executive. I'd go into meetings with him, and I was introduced as Jim Hatton's wife. And it was funny when I hit national marketing director and I got to corporate, got to walk across stage, people were coming up shaking Jim's hand and said, "You must be Wendy Hatton's husband." I'm like, "Yes, I reversed it." So it's okay to feel like, it's okay to do something for yourself. I was so proud to be, I'm still proud to be his wife and Bailey's mom, but it's okay to want more for yourself. And I had a hard time with that in the beginning. I didn't want to tell people that, but it's okay. It's okay to want more and help people have more.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's something, and that's something, and because I grew up where I did and how I did, and I'm kind of used to like the patriarchal way of this whole country runs. Those things were never on my radar until like more recently. So I'm really glad that you brought that up and talked through that, because I think it's really, really important for people to understand, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, that, there's a lot of women that feel the same way that you do. And here's an opportunity to do something that, like you said, like it gets your identity back. And maybe people maybe they're not as successful in this business as you have been, but if they can, if they've got their own account, they've got their own business, they're doing things for themselves, like how empowering that is. And I do love that about what we do. I think that's really, really an important part of what we do, for sure. Tell me a little bit about, you've been doing that. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been with Neora?
So August will make 11 years, and
Okay.
time flies when you're having fun.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over the 11 years, like obviously there are ups and downs in every business. Tell me a little bit about like, what is the hardest part about this business?
The hardest part is the beginning. It's mindset. When I first started, you think your family and your friends are going to be the first to jump on board with you, but they're not. And people are watching you. And then as you have success, it's sad that most people don't want to see people win. Okay. They don't. And that was hard. I'm a true people pleaser. I worry about everything. And so after I first started, I almost quit. And, I was a month in and I thought, I can't do this. People are saying I'm crazy. And so if you can be tough, but what happened? All the negativity, when my friends were saying, "Oh, this stuff doesn't work on social media," I thought the only way they can win is if I quit. So I turned that negativity into fire. And honestly, to this day, I'm so grateful. I don't think I'd be where I'm at today if I hadn't had all that fire, because I thought, I will prove you wrong. So I am not a quitter. I will stick to it. So it's really just mindset, but grab a whole, surround yourself with positive people, and because we all have the negative Nellies, and my family used to be that way. But surround yourself with the positivity before you have to be in a situation around those people, and then just watch and put your blinders on and put a vision out there. I remember when I decided to do this, I showed up to a meeting. It was a regional meeting. And I remember looking in the parking lot, all of the Lexus cars. I'm like, dang, okay. And then Dave, I walked inside and I was looking at everyone's face. And I'm like, okay, I just want to look like you people. And that's another reason when I decided to do the business. And I saw things were attainable here. They just wouldn't say it. I was seeing the transformations on faces. I was seeing the cars. And then I decided if they can do it, I can do it. They're just setting the bar to show me. So here, I'm not bragging on my success. I'm bragging on a company that's given us the tools. And again, I watch the people. I was watching, the Jennifers and people in the company that were going to the top, and I was following their footsteps. And I, to this day, I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I totally full-heartedly believe that, because there's nothing special here. The company is just special. If you're willing to work, you can make a lot of money, and you can help a lot of people do the same.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of people are maybe nervous about direct selling. They've never done it before, and they hear a lot of things about it. Why do you think, because now obviously you're sitting in a different position. Like you've been very, very successful in direct selling. Like people look at you and think, okay, like it worked for you. And I think sometimes people think, well, it won't work for me. You mentioned, the company's special, you're not special. And I don't know that I totally agree with that, but what makes the company different? Like why does this company work when others might not?
Yeah. And I was just talking to a girl last night about that. She'd done several other companies. And I said, well, one, you haven't done ours and you haven't worked with me. And when I say that is our company is so special. One, if you're looking for a company, definitely look into the company. Look up the CEO. Look for the integrity of the company, and look at the products. Do the products stand out? Do people actually want? People want what we have. In my 10 years, I have a built-in book of business month to month. And I get my customers, a lot of those from social media. But if I care about someone, I'm like, you need to look at the business opportunity, because you don't have to do what I do. I was doing an event the other night, and there was an older lady sitting there, and she said, she was signing the paper, and she's like, sign me up. She said, honey, she said, I can't do what you just did, but I know people that can. So the thing is, it's who do you know? And right now we're in a time to flip it back around. I told you, Dave, that when I first started this, my sister was the first one that grabbed me and said, what have you done? Well, I met my sister for Mother's Day weekend, and she's like, oh my goodness, your face has changed again. I'm like, yes, it's our new product. She's like, I can see it. How fast can I get mine? So we have things that people are dying to get their hands on that are very unique to the market. And that's how you build a business. I mean, it's people want what we have without the compensation plan. And I heard Jeff say that, and that is so true. They want our products. And if you can get, partnership with something like that, and partnership, our company is just different. It's a family owned company, and you feel it throughout the company. We all feel like family.
Yeah, that is true. And we are blessed. We get to working with the Olsen family and the team here. And then it attracts people like you and your team. And then that it's kind of, it all works. It's like of course we're biased, but I do feel like it's the best of the best. Like you've got like all of the things working for you. You've checked every box. Mm-hmm. What is it like? We talk about like the ups and the downs and the tough part of the business. What's your favorite part of doing what you do?
Oh my gosh. The favorite part is the people. We attract some of the best people. I've attracted my best friends in this business, and watching that new person get started, and what it can do for their family, just hearing, we've got so much bonus money on the table and how it's changing their lives. I thought it was exciting when I earned my Lexus car bonus. It is so much more exciting helping someone else do that and watch what it does for their family, and giving their independence back, or, getting a mom, some extra income from, or working less, spending more time with their children. And it's very rewarding. I just love getting people started and watching them get their wins. That's by far my favorite.
Yeah. And you've got a lot of people, a lot of wins. So that you probably get that experience, get that feeling quite frequently. But what's next for you? What are you looking forward to this year? What kind of goals have you set for yourself?
I've set some high goals. I have, I was on, when I say that, when I first started, almost 11 years ago, when our flagship product was running high, I got in during that time and it changed my family's life. In 8 months, I went from, I hit the rank of national marketing director, which is equivalent to a six-figure income in the company. And like I said, a college dropout, never done this industry. What we have now with this new product launching is going to be bigger than what I've ever done. So what I've done so far is going to seem insignificant. The thing about it is I can't wait to get all of my friends here and that this bonus money on the table. Like I got a brand new girl that just partnership with me 2 weeks ago. And I did an event with her last night and she was already saying, how the money she has already earned. She said, this is like real money. Real money that pays real bills. And she said, I've already earned that, made my investment back. And she said, I'm going to go on this run with Wendy in this company, and she will collect all the bonus money, zero doubt. And, we've got a lot of it on the table right now. And so my goal is to produce the most national marketing directors in the entire company this year. I want to have the most of them here. So.
All right, you said it. That's a big goal, but I love it.
And I want to help them us do it. So
yeah,
it's attainable though. Anybody can
you can do it. You can do it. I believe you can do it. What advice would you give to somebody? This will be our last question. Let you wrap up on this one. Because obviously, like and we've talked a little bit about this throughout this episode, but like you've done this very, very successfully. And I'm sure a lot of people look at you and say, oh, I don't know if I can do what you do. I don't have the skills. I don't have the background. I don't like all the reasons why I can't be Wendy Hatton. But like, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking at this and they're thinking, I want to do this. I just don't know if I can do this.
First of all, you can. I was told I couldn't do this. My hometown at the time was highest ranked in unemployment in the entire state of Kentucky. So when people told me, you can't afford it here, I know people want to look good and feel good at all times. And I knew what people put value on that. So you can do it. So when I hear people, well, you don't understand, Wendy, the town I'm from, I'm like, look at my hometown. Okay. This is something, if you're willing to be coachable and you're willing to work. Now, this is work. Now, I will tell you, it's the funnest work I've ever done. I get to show up. I tell people we do wine and no wrinkles. I get to have fun. If this is, to me, if this is work, I'll work hard all day long. I'm telling you what's hard work. Being in debt over your head with franchises, not sure if you're going to have enough to pay the bills or pay the employees. That is hard. This is not hard. This is something you can build it as big as you want, or if you just want some fun money, whatever. But think about the people you could help with this. Everyone knows people, that's looking for more. And so you can do it. You just have to decide. Everyone does it differently. We've got introverts that, top income earners in the company. Now, I love to talk. But again, and people listen, I think, because of my accent. So I apologize if you're listening to this podcast. You can leave the mountains of Eastern Kentucky, but the accent does not leave you. Okay. So I've just accepted it. I tell people that's why they have to listen to me, but don't let anything define you. Okay. I didn't let where I was from, the circumstances define me. I didn't, because I've never done the industry. I was willing to be the student. And to this day, I am still the student. I am still learning. When I hear something, I'm always, plugging into it to hear, we always have to be learning and evolving. And just get excited. People are watching you. They're watching your energy. If you don't think you can do it and you're talking to someone, then you probably can't do it. But you can. And I want you to know that. Everyone here, I don't care. I've got all walks of life that are kicking butt and taking names in this business, all backgrounds and all professions. And it's just a decision. And now we're sitting in a prime spot here. It's truly a gold mine opportunity. And I will say that we're offering now to people. And I'm excited to be a part of it. And I'm just honored to be asked to be on. This is my first podcast. So I was honored to asked to be on here. And I hope some of this stuff helps. But it's been a blessing. And I just want to keep passing that gift on.
Well, you've been an absolute blessing for Neora and for our podcast. Thanks so much for being on. It's been wonderful to spend a little time with you, and really appreciate getting a little bit more insight into who you are and what you're doing and how you've done what you've done, because it's truly impressive. So thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. We're having a lot of fun over here and looking younger. So
there you go. Winning all the way around. I love
yes.
it.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Join us next time when we come back to Built to Win. But for now, we'll see you. And thanks again, Wendy. That was awesome.
That was Dave Fleming talking with Wendy Hatton about her journey with Neora. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you learned something from it, please share it with a friend or colleague who you think would also benefit. And if you're new to Built to Win, we invite you to go back and listen to our story from the beginning. You can find us wherever you download your favorite podcasts. And while you're there, please rate us and leave a review to let us know what you think of the show.